Alright guys, well we just got episode 2 of the second season of Chucky with an episode that's titled The Sinners Are Much More Fun, aren't they? So a quick little recap for you guys that did not check out my review of the premiere episode last week. I was very mixed. I'm leaning negative on that first episode. I enjoyed the first season quite a bit. Some things didn't quite work for me, but overall, I enjoyed it. The premiere last week though, the writing especially just some of it was cringe, some of it was just worrisome with the direction they're going to be taking this season. Some of it was some meta stuff that just really did not work for me. This episode this week, much better. Much more of a straightforward episode. So you get the kids that are now settled into this Catholic school. You have Chucky going around that is taking pictures of all of them and various things throughout this Catholic school with this little cell phone camera. And essentially the kids are trying to settle into school, figure out what Chucky is doing, and foil his plan, or at least begin to foil his plan. And for the most part, I enjoyed seeing them kind of settle into this very Harry Potter styled Catholic school. And so Lexi is trying to settle in with her roommate, and that's a character that seems like she's going to be more of like almost the fourth wheel for this group for most of this season. There's also a kid that I guess used to be a bully of hers that they're starting to kind of bud a little bit of a revenge plot between those two. You got Jake and Devin that are kind of just settling into this Catholic school going, holy shit, we're gay, what do we do? And then you have Devin Sawa in here as kind of the main priest, the father of this Catholic school. And starting off with the things that I liked about this episode, I'll give credit where credit is due. I think that the three kid actors are all a lot better this season than they were in the first season. Now, they were all pretty good in season 1 for the most part, but you could tell that they were very young actors. They were early on in their career, so they had some growing and some learning to do. And I think that individually, all three of them are better so far this season, namely Lexi. Lexi, to me, seems like the strongest performer of the three. There wasn't really any relationship stuff between Jake and Devin in this episode, and that's where I think they have the most room to improve as far as their acting, but we'll see where that goes the rest of this season. I actually liked having Devin Sawa back. There was something in the trailer whenever it showed him and then they confirmed that he was coming back that I was a little bit unsure about, because I love Devin Sawa. I've always loved that guy. I really wanted him to come back to horror for a long time, so I was so excited that he was signed up for this series last year. And there was something that seemed like it was almost going to be too silly or too campy having him come back and play a completely different character, meanwhile looking identical to Jake's dad and uncle. And they kind of make a little wink moment at it where Jake says, kind of reminds me of my father, and there's a lot of father phrases whenever they're looking at the Bible. Hopefully they don't run that joke into the ground, but I actually did like having Devin Sawa back. I like the fact that he's playing a very different character, so it's not like he's just here because he's part of the crew now and they want him to come hang out. He's actually doing something really interesting with his character. I like the moments of humor that we get from Chucky here, especially whenever he's like unanimated on the desk and they're all looking at him and he sees him and he goes, and then goes back. Like, there was a moment like that in season 1 in the hospital I thought was one of the better, funnier Chucky moments, and so I enjoyed that here too. The fact that this might be like a scout Chucky, he's not the one that's tasked with doing the murders, is interesting to me. I don't know if that's actually Chucky's plan. I'm sure there's some twists and turns in store for us, but if that is the fact that there is various little jobs for these Chucky, you had the kamikaze one in the last one, you got the scout in this one, eventually they'll be like the assassin Chucky. That's an interesting angle to go with, and so I'm very intrigued with that. I also continue to enjoy all of the homage that Don Mancini continues to bring into this series. The show opens up with Jennifer Tilly and a very direct reference to the first Godfather, and maybe even extending to Bride of Chucky and Cult of Chucky with the overhead glass that was used for a kill in both of those movies. I don't know if that was deliberate or if it's just The Godfather, and that's just an extra thing that I felt was there. And then you also have the Harry Potter stuff, which they don't really lean heavy into, but you have the character that is Lexi's roommate that might as well be called Harriet Potter because she's got the glasses and the frizzy hair, and she's got even the little uniform that looks straight out of Gryffindor. There was a shot with Devin Sawa sitting at his desk when they were at lunchtime where he had a bunch of different logos behind it that almost looked like the houses So to me, that feels very deliberate. There's even a Draco Malfoy joke, and so I don't know how far they're going to take that this season, but it's always fun as like an Easter egg hunt every single episode to see what movies or what TV series that Don Mancini is going to be referencing this time. And I'm also really intrigued with the fact that Nika is somehow working with Chucky inside of her mind. I think that that's really an interesting angle. I'm not really sure what good it's going to do when she doesn't have any fucking limbs, but it is something that's going to be curious to see where it goes, because they were mortal enemies and now they're working together to fuck over Jennifer Tilly / Tiffany. And so I'm curious to see where that's going. That was the thing at the end of the first season that just kind of, just didn't sit right with me, that we took all of Nika's limbs. I'm like, fuck, man, she's the best character. We really got to do that to her? That's sick. The only thing that I'll say I'm mixed on it, because it wasn't something that I straight up disliked. The only thing that I'm having a difficult time with, which I had a difficult time with last season as well, is that it seems like any scene with Tiffany / Jennifer Tilly, they turn the camp up to 11, like damn near break the knob off. And I don't know how I like that. Like, I need a little bit of camp with Chucky. Some of it's fun, some of it's goofy. It's certainly a silly concept whenever you lean into it. So I get it. But Tiffany Valentine was a serious character in Bride of Chucky. And I don't even really think she was all that non-serious in Seed of Chucky, which is a very campy, goofy movie. And ever since either Curse or Cult, ever since then, Jennifer Tilly's placement in this series has been ultra campy and just turned up, hamming it up, chewing the scenery. And I just think it needs to be dialed back a little bit. Like, I love Jennifer Tilly, I love the character, but it just seems like they're directing this character to be just so over the top to where every scene that she's in is just one note. And I wish there was a little bit more nuance, a little bit more intricacies in what she's doing with the character, or what she's being told to do with the character, or how the character is being written. Because her just being absolute batshit insane, maniacal, every single scene that she's in, it's gonna grate after a while for me personally. So I love Jennifer Tilly. I love the fact that this character has become synonymous with Chucky. I've always loved her since Bride of Chucky. I want to see different layers of Tiffany, not just the crazy chick. But overall, guys, I am enjoying this season a bit more now that we're getting into the actual plot of the season, where, you know, episode 1 was very much more epilogue to season 1, and then just kind of tailed into what the story of this season is going to be. And so I'm intrigued. I'm certainly invested, and I feel a lot better one episode later than I did at the end of last episode, where the one word I would use to describe my emotions was worried. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this review, please check over here for all of my coverage on the Chucky TV series thus far, and I'm also going to put my ranking of all the Chucky movies up here. Please like and share and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss all of the coverage of the rest of this season to come. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.